How y'all doing? Taking a moment at work, just thinking about a few things in terms of movies at the moment. Two have been making the rounds lately. The Flash, which has basically become a flop, and Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, which some are saying is destined to flop. First, I'll start off with The Flash. I saw it Wednesday, as I was starting out with the GDEX convention. It's not bad, but 30% of it was about The Flash. And for those complaining, why'd you go see Ezra Miller and his film? Well, I didn't go to it to see Ezra Miller. I went to it to see Michael Keaton. I guess I wanted to see him as Batman one last time. And I did. The thing with The Flash is, this was a story that stopped being about The Flash. I mean, The Flash was the character that got the ball rolling, but the story was not about him. This was about the DC universe. Where it is now, where it's been, what might have been, and where's it going to go next? Because right now, DC, as well as the Time Warner stable of companies, is in dire straits. I've heard some say that they're selling off their properties to pay off debt, much like Marvel had done in the 90s. And as of right now, Marvel's got back, as far as I can tell, all their properties except for Spider-Man, which Sony still has an iron grip on. I heard they just got back the Hulk, and they just got back Namor. Because Marvel owned a quarter, Fox owned a quarter, Universal owned a quarter, and another party owned a quarter. Don't know who that fourth party was, but since Disney purchased Fox, they got half. Universal apparently sold off their Hulk rights, and as well as Namor, so then it was 3/4. So I guess it was just this final quarter they still had to worry about, and I think they might have gotten that taken care of. Well, no more as time goes on. But for me, taking a look at The Flash, this was not a story about The Flash. It was about the DC universe, because you saw at first, I think it was Ben Affleck as Batman. And then you saw Michael Keaton. You saw a new character being Kara Zor-El. You saw General Zod return, and you found that he killed off Henry Cavill's Superman on the way to Earth. Yikes. And then at the end, you got a totally different Batman altogether. I won't say who. I don't want to spoil too much. But maybe if they called it something else, would it have mattered? If they called this movie Flashpoint, would it have done better? Maybe a little, but not by much. It was a good film. I mean, you also got to see moments of like a CG Christopher Reeve alongside a CG Helen Slater for about a couple seconds. You also wondered what Nicolas Cage's Superman would have been like. You had about a minute or two to see that. So it explores the potential, it explores the past, and we're left wondering what's next. Well, Aquaman 2 will be the last of this original run. Batgirl is still shelved, but it might have like a release like Roger Corman's Fantastic Four movie. Never underestimate fandom. But I think DC will persist, but it's going to be a long road for it too. And yeah, Marvel needs the competition. And DC, hell, WB needs to get its act together. And now I want to go to Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Most of the reviewers I've seen out there really want this to flop. I've not seen it yet, But the more reviews I see of them wanting to flop make me want to see it more, because I'm questioning the motivations behind a lot of these reviewers. I think they just want Lucasfilm to fail, so they think they'll sell it back to George Lucas and say, all's forgiven. But they forget it's this belly aching from fans that caused George Lucas to sell it to Disney in the first place. And they thought at first as it was sold to Disney, it would have gone the direction they wanted. Well, it didn't. I think I take a look at their reactions to the sequel trilogy, and they're like, fire Kathleen Kennedy, fire Kathleen Kennedy. And that's, I think, the heart of their motivation. They want Kathleen Kennedy gone. And their chosen one, as far as I can tell, is Dave Filoni. It's not going to go the way they want, not really. And I think the way that a lot of these so-called fans want to go is the original 3 films unaltered, the EU reinstated, and any and all television and film projects revolving around the EU. What kind of EU films? Well, they always mention the Thrawn trilogy. As far as I can tell, I've never seen them mention anything else. And yeah, the Thrawn trilogy, I've read that. But we also do the Young Jedi Academy. And I'm a little rusty, but Chewbacca was dead in the EU. Anakin Solo was dead in the EU. And I think Jason might be the same. Jaina, I believe, was still around. But, what are you looking for in this? Were you looking to see Luke, Han, and Leia back together? I don't think Harrison Ford really wanted that. He wanted Han Solo killed off, and I think that was the only way they'd get him on board. So, I think they walked a tightrope in trying to do Star Wars the best they could, and also to make it appeal to a broader fan base, to build on the fan base. Not just reflect one group that just wants their way or not at all. Like I said, I think if this fan had their way, it would just be about Luke, Han, and Leia, and everything revolving around that. Probably like the same with Ghostbusters Afterlife. Yeah, you had your new cast members with Phoebe and Greg Gruberson and Finn Wolfhard's... Oh, Trevor. Yeah, that's it. Trevor. And I think that's the cast that may continue to grow with the next film, Firehouse. But the core cast of Bill Murray, Harold Ramis, Ernie Hudson, and Dan Aykroyd was what the film was all about, even though Filmation had their own Ghostbusters before any of them did. For Loudon, it all stems from this core group. And I think for these fans, it's supposed to stem from the core group of Luke, Han, and Leia. Not Anakin, is what George Lucas had done. And not a multi-generation story is what Disney was looking to do with Rey. I always felt that if you just make about Luke, Han, and Leia, that's like saying Star Trek couldn't go beyond Kirk, Spock, and McCoy. But then we had the next generation with Picard, Riker, Data, Worf, Dr. Crusher, Deanna. We also had DS9 with Sisko, Kira, Odo, O'Brien, Dax. And Voyager with Janeway, Chakotay, Paris, Harry Kim, B'Elanna. And then with Enterprise with Archer, T'Pol, Trip. And even now with the new Star Trek. With Discovery, Lower Decks, Picard. So, change happens. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. And with all the people bellyaching about Star Wars and Lucasfilm, remember, I've seen worse. But it's also worse than I don't think a lot of people would care about. So, Flash, I wish more could have been done with it. Maybe change the title to Flashpoint. I think it would have fit the movie better. Indiana Jones, I'm going to see it despite what these critics are saying, because I really question their motivations. I think they just want someone to fail because they think in failing, they'll get Star Wars to go the direction they want, which is Luke's the star again and he takes the reins back. I think that's what they wanted with the sequel trilogy. The story would be about Luke again, not Anakin. And actually, I think that's it for right now. Gotta get going. I've got a Super Mario video that I'm looking to have out by the end of the week. Catch you all later. This is Turn on the Road, episode 1. Catch you later. Just saw Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny tonight. There are a lot of people that have been ripping on this movie, and frankly, I think that ripping is unwarranted. Is it as good as the classic trilogy? No. But is it like the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull? Definitely not. Except maybe for one moment at the beginning. One nuke the fridge moment, but the adventure was still there. Tributes were still there. This was the film that checked all the boxes for me. This was an Indiana Jones adventure. And it continues his story. I like this film. I don't care what anyone else says about that. I would encourage people to watch this film if they wish. Will it be like Raiders, Temple of Doom, and Last Crusade? No. It will give some nods to it, though. To those films, though. And yeah, a little moment on Kingdom of Crystal Skull, too. But I didn't feel it was like Kingdom of Crystal Skull. If the film ended here, I'd have been satisfied with the end. I'll leave you to figure out what I meant by that line yourselves if you so choose to. But for people saying that this is a bad film, it's not. Is it like the blockbusters we grew up with? No. But it's not a dumpster fire. And people that are saying it's a dumpster fire, well, I question the sincerity of their reviews. See for yourself and make your own decision. For me, this is a good film. Not a spectacular film, but a good one. You will enjoy it, I think. You will get the sense of adventure out of this. Out of that you get from an Indiana Jones film. Sit back, relax, enjoy. Happy July 4th, everyone. If you're not going right away, I'll understand. There are celebrations to be had. But I made my own decision on this, and I find this a film I enjoy. I just ask the rest of you to do the same. And the haters that are telling you it's a dumpster fire or whatever, pay them no mind. Make your own call. Don't forget to click and subscribe.